What's going on, guys? So that is a box with a big old explosion on it. This is actually a brand new Exia build, and this is the first Master Grade Monday of 00CTOBER. Let's get to it. Alright, guys, so on this Master Grade Monday of 00CTOBER, we're going to be taking a look at old school Exia MG. Now, many years ago, I looked at my original Exia MG, which I had lightly custom, and I think that you guys kind of complained about it. So I figured, well, that was the ignition mode Exia, technically speaking, and since I needed a normal, modern version of Exia MG, I say modern by, I mean new, a new printing at least, I might as well go ahead and grab this. And this was actually, little known fact, the very last kit that I got in for 00CTOBER, realistically. Like, when I say kit, I'll address it. I'll address it later. Either way, so actually, I think I've only ever seen this box in hand like once before, but because I already had the ignition mode, I didn't bother picking it up. So you do have a nice image of Exia blowing up some Zaku's. Actually, technically, it's a tier, and then I know, and then you have up here a couple of enacts flying about. So this is, looks like it's during the desert battle, if I had to guess, because it's kind of a coalition thing. They have multiple different suits moving around. You also can't really technically read what it says there, because most of, like, good chunk of Gundam and then a little bit of Exia is covered up there. Also, they used not solid letters, so very interesting way to go about that. And it says Bandai Spirits 2009. Wow, okay. And then you got the updated Bandai Spirits logo there, not the old cool red one, although that would have been fun to find an actual original old Exia in box, but I'm sure those polycaps would be in great condition, kind of like the old one I've got. Alright, so come around to this side, and you've got some nice action poses going on right here. It says GN Sword. Yes, it does. And it says front view. That's definitely front view. And you got a little up-close version of the GN Sword there. And then you've got Gundam Exia Celestial Being Mobile Suit GN-001. And then it has a whole bunch of stuff in Japanese, but I can't read it because I'm not in Japanese. It says display base. Yes. And then figure. Yep. And then rear view. Big old spiky rear view. And then something going on over here on the back side. Cool. And then GN blades. Yes, those are definitely things that exist. And come around this side, of course, you got a zoomed in version of the box art. The explosions and the glow going on here, along with the glow on the eyes, just gorgeous. Super awesomeness. And of course, Gundam Exia. You can actually read it there for the most part. Like I said, for the most part, I mean, at a glance, it'd be a little difficult, but cool nonetheless. Bandai logo in the corner. And you come around this side, and you've got mechanical frame and some arrows with stuff moving. And then GN shield with an arrow. And then new material, whatever that means. GN beam saber. Oh, those swivel and do things. Nice leg. Technically, that's a foot. Clear parts. Yes, those exist too. GN shield. I already read that. Never mind. Special marking. I didn't put those on mine. Action pose. And then you've got, holy crap, all kinds of arrows and such going on there. All right. And then you come over here, and it shows you everything in the box. Coolness. Make sure I don't run out of room here. And then you've got all the plastics there, the PSP, ABS, and the evac. I don't know what evac technically is. Maybe that's the clear stuff. I don't know. And you got the little guy with the toilet right there. Some kind of warning. I can't read. And normally the yen cost would be here. I think this was in the like $45 range, somewhere in there. I don't really pay attention anymore. Just buy the shit. I happened to get a good paycheck, so I was like, yep, I'm going to get this, along with one other thing that I wanted right at the end. And then you've got illustration is by Morishita Naochika, pretty much my favorite artist of all time when it comes to Gundam art. And even though it's fantastic, it's still upside down. When are they ever gonna learn? Like, how, just quit making it upside down, guys. I mean, it looks beautiful, but it's hard to tell when it's upside down. Yeah, I know. 6 years, still doing this gag. All right, guys. No time lapse on this one because, well, I built it here in the cave, which I don't normally do. So let's just get to it. All right, guys, here is the Exia out here looking all brand new and nice and clean. Look at it. So pretty. Now, it's a little funny. So, in theory, I've technically built 4 Exias so far. My original one from way back in the day, Dark Matter, and Amazing. And then now this one. So it was kind of funny going into it. I'm like, hey, I know these parts. I've done this before. Now, of course, this is just brand new. Unfortunately, not going to have the Dark Matter or the Amazing Exia because I don't know where those are in the collection. If you saw the opening video, before Double October started, with the finding stuff, I didn't get that far. I mean, it's got to be in some of the boxes, but those things don't count. We're going only strictly 00 kind of things here. So technically, we've already looked at Exias before, but because of course this isn't the ignition mode, we don't have to do anything crazy like do all the conversions and stuff for that. Although thinking about it, I might go ahead and do the that conversion to my original just for the heck of it. So, zooming in here, we can look at that face. He's so cute. Look at it. I do think this head is still just a hair small, but mostly proportionate. One thing about it is, especially on the HGs, the head was not big enough. And then, I guess, like I said, it's a good balance. The eyes don't look too ridiculous. You do have, of course, stickers for the eyes, stickers for the cameras. There are stickers inside inside the side of the GN condenser inside the head there, and along with I can't remember. I think there's double layers. There's like a weird lens on the inside. I think it's almost for magnification, and then the green lens, and it's the same for all of the GN condensers, which actually gives it this cool holographic look. So you can see the text on the sticker inside and then the text on the actual plastic, and it looks like it's projected. I've always known it to be doing that, but I've never considered that it does it. Now, the only place where it's a little wonky is on the chest, because that's not a great sticker, if we're honest. And unfortunately, I don't have any LEDs for this. I don't have any spare ones, or I don't have the batteries for them, or else I would have bothered to get the LEDs. The other thing that's cool about it is you do get the cool rainbow reflective, like GN particle strips or wires or whatever they call them. So, like in the older ones, in this generation of Gundams, they had to have these to move, GN particles around the Gundam. What? The focus is so confused. Hey, stay focused, shit. Even down here in the ankle, but either way, the funny thing is with the head is just on a ball joint. There's actually no neck joint. I did not recall that, so it can rotate not too far before the cheeks hit there. Also, good color separation on this with the little yellow cheek vents, although those are kind of a pain in the butt to make sure they stay. I would suggest possibly just cementing them in place. It's an okay fit, but they are such a small, finicky part. If you want them to stay forever, probably do that. You also get the cool hinged little like GN antenna thingies. That's always a good thing. And then I always love this about the chest. The chest vent here, as it works, is on a hinge. Although they made it a translucent green, so if you did have it lit up, it would sort of light up through there. I'd never really experienced it doing that, but whatever. So the hinge goes up and down. There's a little bit of in out swivel on a thing there. It's got a little bitty ab crunch there, and a ball joint at the hip, which gives you a little bit of rotation, but you really just kind of start hitting everything, so it's not going to be too great. Coming around to the back, I do have it with the GN condenser on the back, or the particle tank, I should say. Sorry, got my things wrong. We'll put the GN drive in here in a minute once we go through accessories and whatnot. The shoulder is just on a peg, which is always interesting to see it just a peg and everything plugs in there. Polycap inside there. If you raise it all up, straighten out your arm, and you can even rotate some bicep action and get a nice high teacher. Hold on, let's give him a waving hand. Hi, my name is Exia. Wow, it's been a long time. Now, the only thing is you do work the shoulder off a little bit, and then the kind of pass-through bit here on the shoulder armor is supposed to sit inside here, and it doesn't like to stay. So, there's that. Okay, so we already pointed out the bicep swivel. It does have a double jointed elbow, which seems like it should go further than that, but there we go. Get you that far. And you got your beam sabers dangling off the back here. It is what it is. Already pointed out GN condenser things. And you do have the articulated hands. So you got all three of these fingers, just base knuckle, ball joint for the thumb, ball joint for the trigger finger, and the itty bitty tab thingy that's there for holding on to things, which is super annoying. And you also have the plug on the forearm, which allows you to add GN particles to your weapons. Not to mention, just makes it a little bit more secure for holding on to weapons. You do get front skirts down here, which are on a hingey hinge, which allows you to get it way up like so. Doesn't like rotate out of the way. It's just kind of a singular joint. I think it is on a ball. Yeah, it is on a ball joint, so you can get a little bit of movement out of it. And then if you come to the back skirt, it's just a ball joint, I believe. Yeah. And then, of course, you have the beam saber mount, which can move around a little bit. Swing that out sideways for grabbing that. I always wondered how he grabbed the ones on the back of his shoulders, because that seems impossible. But he does it. He does it in the thing. I guess he'd have to reach across and grab from under. I don't know. I have no idea how he pulled the ones off his arms. As he ejects them and then picks them up. Okay, so anyway, let's go after the hips, which, let's get the arms up. Let's see. Do we get, that's as far as you're going to get on a Jean-Claude. Do that. It is kind of a universal joint mounted inside there. And then you have the drop down action, which is, you can do it for either leg. Realistically, does that give you any more room to work? No, it does not go out any further sideways. However, that should give you a lot more kicking forward, which, good lord, that's a kick. That is a kick. And come on, go up. All right. You do get the mechanical movement. So when you bring the leg down, got some dust there. You see the kind of slide happening inside there. And of course, the cool reflectiveness. It's not quite doing the rainbow thingy that it does. It's there, but I'm not sure my camera's picking it up, if I'm honest. Just looks kind of purplish. All right, and then you have single jointed, or hold on, one knee joint, and then two knee joints, which gets you that far. And then you have this big old yoink sticking out there. Swing it back down. Doop. All right. And legs look nice. But it's funny how long it takes to actually do the legs. All right, so you get a ball joint up here for the upper part of the ankle, like that. Hold on. Oh, foot's coming apart on me. Oops. That was weird. Random. You got another ball joint at the base, which allows you to get quite a lot of rocking movement. You got the front ankle guard. You got the rear ankle guard, although personally I figured that could go forward if you wanted it to. And then you got some of the work designed feet on an MG, because there's like, it doesn't give you a whole lot of downward movement. It sort of holds, but not really, because there's enough flex in there with those polycaps. And then it goes up really easily, which means most of the time when you have your Exia standing on a shelf, it will lean forward. And then you have an upward moving toe joint, which is kind of the same, if we're honest. So, like, depending on how you have this guy armored up and how you stand him, odds are he's going to just fall forward. Now, this one, something about it, and I remember this too, where like I can't quite straighten it out, and it's got some springiness to it, which means it's going up against the tension of at least the polycap. Now, that seems to have locked it in place to a degree. Like, it feels like it doesn't want to move. But yeah, see how it instantly just pops down? So yeah, either way, looking good, Exia. All right, so starting off with accessories, we of course have the GN drive, like you do, and or solar furnace here. And it does come with its kind of transport bracket thing. Why they never gave this to you in gray, I don't understand. It's clear. And in the, I think in the ignition mode, it is in fact green. And I think for the 00, it's also green. This one is really tight though, like, and that's got really good ridge. I think maybe because I just had it slightly misaligned. So either way, if one were to have LEDs mounted inside it, you would just turn it like so to activate the LEDs. You do get the kind of bubble translucentness there. You have the GN cone and all that coming out the back, which this will slide in and out. Just be careful, because like if you do it too much with nothing inside, it'll pop loose and then it doesn't do you any good. And of course, to install it, you just come back here, you open up the little gray things, you take that out, and then you want to align it this way so your little gappy things are there, and it actually does have holes to line up. And you just go ahead and close that, and now you've got your Exia with a GN drive. Now on to what is the smallest accessory here is it comes with a tiny 1/100 scale little Carol and Haro. Now this is the little repair robot. Now the funny thing is, the original one I had, I think every version of Exia I've done, has come with one of these, and I had no clue what it was until this one. And I just painted it with like a Zaku green and just some random orange I had laying around. And it looks okay. You can't really do anything with it. It's just sort of there. But that is a super small accessory, which I'm fairly certain I'm going to lose after this this review. And not to be forgotten, you also get a standing Exia Setsuna little figure there. I thought about painting it, but it was already coming down to the wire on the build, and I'm like, eh. Now, I'm fairly certain, I think I painted an Exia before. And yes, there is a seated version that is already in the cockpit. Can't really show it to you. That's kind of the problem with the seated ones. They just get buried in that cockpit. So, is what it is. And for those who care, here's all of the sticker sheets with the dry not dry erase. Wow. Dry transfer decals there. And then the kind of regular stickers here, the white and the blue ones. I'm never really been keen on those. I put them on my old one a few years ago just to detail it up. But I'm not gonna do it with these. I really don't like my Gundams all decaled up. I actually like them pretty clean. Now, next up, that does come with beam saber blades, both long and short, and you can, of course, utilize those however you want, but do it without wife hair stuck to it. Wow, that's really bad. I've been cleaning, and I went after everywhere. I don't really do anything with beam blades anymore. You know, I think there's enough going on with Exia to not even bother with it. And of course, just the slot or the kind of square end down here does slot in very nicely to all of his beam sabers that are on his back. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, I have another beam saber here. I wonder if it would work. This is not from the MG Exia, by the way. Just saying. Technically, that does work. So if you know where this comes from, which you'll find out anyways here pretty soon in another review, just know that you can do that, even though, when I filmed that, this wasn't here yet. All right, now, of course, you do get the other GN blades or GN swords, however you want to call them. Now, you'll notice that these have chrome bladed edges, or chrome plated blade edges, I guess is what I should say. Now, what I did do, as you'll see in the Double October diaries, I actually disassembled my old ignition mode ones and actually reassembled them with the chrome bits on my new one because I like the chrome, dang it. And detailing is nice here, nice molded detail, all panel lined, of course. Like the color separation, it's always been good. There is a slight issue that every now and then these white pieces, the covers as they are, will pop out because there's only one spot where they technically collect. So if you wanted to, I would say cement those. Like just give it a quick little bloop, a little bit of cement to make sure they never pop off again, if that's important to you. So, and of course, you can use them on your Exia. So you have the storage mode, which is always fun, especially once you put it away. So you want to get in here, pull that out, get your arm out of the way, and then swing this little nubbin out like that, which is a cool design, but not often easy to pull off. And then with the socket there, go ahead and plug. Gotta make sure you clear that butt skirt. Plug that on, and it works just like that. Now, if you want him to hold it, you have that vertical slot right there, which will tab into, or actually this will tab into it. Just kind of get that out here. Now, these are some of the bad hands, I should say, that Bandai gave us. Like, they'll hold a normal weapon, like Beam Saber or these swords, fairly well, and they'll look good doing it, but they're not great. Ultimately, the I guess we would refer to as the 3.0 hands, which are the super articulated ones, but they have the tab that folds out and then the weapon folds out of the weapon. Those are absolutely the best thing for holding on to weapons, but for the most part, not bad. Oh, by the way, I never did do the hand articulation. So you do have the rotation joint, and then you have a wrist joint, which is actually pretty flexible. Just be careful you don't pop anything out. Now we move on to some of the bigger things. And here is his nice little GN shield here. It's not really that little, honestly. It's pretty sizable. Nice color separation here. White pieces here, blue pieces here. Nice little gray base there, all around there. And it does have the ability to open up. And I think this is to release like a small GN field for protective, reasons. And this one is staying in place pretty well. Because I always thought, is like, isn't that meant to kind of stay out and lock out? And yes, technically it is. It would be nice if there was like some type of springy thing to kind of hold it out. I guess in theory, just if you want it to be permanently open, just glue it in place, because these are just on a little slide groove and it's not that difficult. So if you want to, just give it a little cement. I mean, you can even do it back here if it's an afterthought. Um, Details are always good. You do get the swivel base there, which will plug into the forearm right here, of course. A horse is a horse, of course. In theory, you could technically plug it in over there, although it'll be backwards. So I don't know. Maybe it actually wouldn't plug in very well on the other arm. But it does look good. But here's what I'll talk about where that just doesn't want to stay open. So if you like the open look, I suggest gluing it. And of course, the HG version, which we'll look at in comparison here, is a little different. I will say, though, with these things out, you lose some of that thigh rotation because it hits on the swords. So just be wary of that. And last but definitely not least is the GN sword here. And it looks awesome. You do have the kind of miniature shield going on here. And you do have the little pistol grip as it is. Once again, I robbed the chrome. I was going to say gold. The chrome bits from my original ignition mode. So guys, if I have to really state it clearly, it does not come with this version of Exia. The chrome is from the ignition mode, and as far as I know, the only place you can get that. I will show the difference here in a minute, but just know I did this as a minor custom. If you're going to complain, wah, don't care. You know, I just wanted this one, being my new one, to be updated and look cool. You do have the ability to swing the sword out like you do, and it meets up to the front of the gun. This has a little bit of a hinge to it here, as does the shield, which can actually collapse like that, which I think realistically you collapse it for sword mode, and you don't really use that necessarily. And the handle here does swivel like so, and it does have a spot to be held, much like this. So if you get the palm of the hand there, and the hard part is because it is at an angle, just making sure you get it in the palm of the hand correctly, like so. Yep. And occasionally it doesn't feel like it's plugged in. Just, yep. And then any amount of leverage or leverage, if you're going to be like that, will pop it loose. Like, I mean, that took no effort. Is it effectively plugged in? Doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like it's plugging in there. Yeah, that, maybe I have it at an odd angle. You get up and out of my way. Okay. So, sorry. Blocking it with the shield. That's in the hand. Okay. So, if you're doing it this way, I believe that is how you get the sword mode. And I think you want to collapse it down a little bit. Now, he does actually use it in this mode a couple times, so it's not unprecedented. I'm just trying to get the plug into the forearm. There we go, for stability. Because realistically, you can't rely on that handle. You just can't. So if you want him to hold the blade like a sword, you can. And then good thing my hand was there, because I talked about the toes. Now the blade is out there, got all that forward weight. The toes want to rock forward and just not do anything. And look, especially on a smooth surface like this, he will just completely go over. That is really bad. Okay, so let's transform this ever so slightly. So swing this down. Let's see if I can do it in hand. Nope. Okay. I thought maybe it would do it just to be nice, but no, it wouldn't. Okay, so this is where we waste time and footage fighting the damn thing. And once again, this is a situation of, if you're never going to mess with it again, just glue it in place. Like, glue it to the palm and never worry about it again. All right. And then, by the way, I didn't mention it. This swivels here so that you can, of course, plug it into the arm. And there it is in its other sword form. He uses it like this far more often. And then, of course, swing it back like so. And make sure you're missing the beam saber, which, of course, gets in the way. But that is our Exia completed, basically. And let's do a comparison here. So I'm going to swing this over, and I'm going to bring in the HG Exia R2, because I don't have a normal one. So there's your size reasoning. Also, I would love to have an R2 MG and an R3 MG. I would definitely love to have the R3 MG that I bought last year that got delivered elsewhere. So for those who have always wondered the difference between an MG and an HG in size, not just in a number on paper, there you go. There's your scale difference. And by the way, the shield came off. So the HG shield is always permanently open, just so you know. Also, a sticker for that whole thing. And I'm going to swing it over here for just a second, because I'm going to bring in my original on a stand because, well, frankly, it's going to be a pain in the butt. So it's a, and you can see, I'll show you the detail differences. Obviously, I painted the shoulders white, which is kind of a later Exia thing. I think it's one of the other versions, or maybe I just did it, and then I painted the V-fin yellow just for the heck of it. Obviously, this one has stickers on it, and I wanted to show the difference between the blades. So these are the silver blades that this one came with, being absolutely clear about it. The chrome came from this one, the silver came from that one. Switched around once again. And you can really see, I'll set the new guy aside here. The cockpit has been having a hard time staying closed. The shield pops off fairly easy. I mean, look, that's just really just worn down, doesn't stay in place very often. Very well. Why do I say that? All right, the swords, or at least the mounts where the swords are, super loose at this point. Legs, very, very loose. The feet, well, frankly, there's a reason I have him on the stand. In fact, I had to super glue the crotch adapter to him so that it would stop falling off the base, because even that wore down over time. And for those who don't know or realize, this was the second ever kit I built. Second. Like, I built the 00 Riser, and then I built this one. There's a reason I wanted an updated, fresh one, because this one, you know, even as much as I kind of loved it. And also, I think you can see a little bit of yellowing. Oh, yeah, there's definitely yellowing going on there from just time. That's crazy, considering it's not been exposed to smoke or anything. I can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera or not. Also, the shoulder, you can see it just doesn't, it's kind of, once I get, yep, boop, it just drops. The torso also really kind of weak. I mean, that's just meh. I probably should get the LEDs out of there if they are still in there, just for the heck of it, and put them in this one. So, and going over this one, and this is just funny. This is the main thing that I really wanted to say. The main reason I did this is because second ever build. I've already done a couple of, let's see, I've done the 007 swords and the 00X Sunriser or Sunriser. So I've rebuilt that one. Now I've done other Exias, obviously the Dark Matter and the Amazing Exia. That's not the same thing. Same parts, not the same thing. But to rebuild the same kit, let's see, 2013 was when I built that. So nearly 10 years later, rebuilding the same exact kit for the most part, what is shown is the same exact thing. And just applying my better knowledge, better skills, you know, towards building. Like, there's horrible nubs all over this thing. I don't know. I think I panel lined it much later, and I panel lined it in black. Not to mention I did customize it with Gundam marker for the paint and whatnot. This one, much cleaner, much tighter joints, much better way of cleaning up nubs, with the exception of a few spots that were just very tricky, especially on the gray ABS. But, you know, just being able to try my hand at refreshing a thing. I really want to get another Isle Strike, because that was the third kit I think I ever built. So an MG Isle Strike would be a fun thing to refresh, because mine is also chopped up. Now, of course, I do have to do different comparison now, because this is kind of the first time I've ever been able to really do this. We have the MG Curios and the MG Dynamis. I kind of have to make room here because it's just so bulky. He's caught on the sword. See, the problem with the sword, I get caught on freaking everything. So let me bring Exia forward and slide that in like so. And yeah, that's a pretty good set right there, if I do say so myself. Trying to get all these Season 1 Gundams in here, and they do look good together, considering like there's a similarity in the base, you know. I think they all sort of use that base Exia engineering that's just been updated a little bit over time. So that's pretty awesome. I gotta get a picture of that. Biggest negatives about the kit have the same ones they have always been. The ankle design. This is absolutely insane. And I say ankle because I'm considering the ball joints and this hinge all as part of the ankle, even though I know technically it's not. Um, it's terrible. It is just a terrible design. Has always been terrible. Uh, Generally speaking, almost any forward weight on it, it's going to tip. There's no good way around it unless you feel like gluing that solid so the feet don't move. If you don't want your feet to ever move, do that. Otherwise, put them on an action base, which once again, I might go ahead and just swap it out onto the old one. So, but either way, guys, that's going to be it for this MasterGrade Monday. I know this was a long one considering, but you know, it felt good. It felt good to redo this one. It felt good to get back in the swing of things. We do have several MasterGrades this year. There's a little tiny speck of plastic right there stuck in the panel line. We do have several MasterGrades this year, along with HGs and SDs, and you've already seen the Setsuna bust prior to that. So, and I had to think about the schedule because I'm not necessarily recording these things in the order you see them. YouTube time travel, guys. So either way, but I'll see you on the next one. And remember, as always, keep on building.